He's like our Michael Saylor, except
right?
I was a bit worried because they start talking into like a blockchain week. They start talking about trading and how at the end of the day a VC has to trade and has to sell. And I was like a bit annoyed because I thought maybe they were they were part of the big sell-off of the beginning of Algorand. So when he came back, I thought, yeah, it's a good news, but we never know what he's gonna do like in a few months or few weeks. So let's see how it
Yeah,
goes. Hopefully he doesn't sell.
I doubt
yeah.
it, man. That man don't make bad investments, to be honest.
Yeah, but you know you can sell by like you can drop the price and they buy back again. You know, like that's the base of
Yeah,
trading.
yeah.
So I'm afraid about like the playing with big numbers. Institutions they do that. Like they have to short to accumulate even more. So it's a bit like a double edged sword.
It may be, but honestly, I wouldn't worry about it with him. He has been pretty engaged since the very beginning. Yes, he was an early investor, but it's clear that he's putting more money into it. And for me, that's a bullish sign for the future. And if he's going to invest in the projects, it really demonstrates that he sees the future promise of Algorand. So I think it's in his
Yeah,
best
I
interest
agree.
to support the project as much as possible. And we definitely are seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, his funding will go a long way for, all these, especially since we got the AVM up now. Like, it's going to help incentivize a lot more development onto the platform as well.
So did you guys catch during that interview? He said, "I hope I didn't let the cat out of the bag, but we're talking to Shift Markets, and I really like them." And Shift Markets, the only Shift Markets I could find was a white label crypto exchange solution. I don't know. Did any of you guys catch that or do any research on that or find any connections there?
No, I've actually been behind on my research for the past 2 weeks. So
Well, you're out of town, so we'll forgive you. But I have no idea what they're doing with Shift Markets and how it's going to play. But it looks like it's it might be they have a over the counter kind of component, but I don't know who they're going to white label with. Maybe they're going to white label with Arrington. Who knows?
there ain't no telling, especially the connections like just TechCrunch and XRP Capital have. Like, TechCrunch has been around for a long time. And like,
Hmm.
Michael Arrington's articles and his like tech insight has been valued since like, the dot-com boom.
Right?
Um,
Yeah.
there's
His
no
his
telling.
his portion of that interview was as informative, if not more, than Koknos. Like it was like equal parts. You know what I mean? It was interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Just his point of view on the overall markets and how his views on not breaking stuff first and fixing it later, but making sure it's right the first time in crypto. Otherwise, you'll get burned.
yes.
Uh, I thought that was interesting.
I guess that's part of his funding as well. Like, he wants to make sure everything's going to be perfect on Algorand, like smooth. We're not going to have a whole bunch of shady stuff going on, and
Right.
or more or less a very obvious technical area that could cost people a lot of money. Including
Mm-hmm.
someone like himself.
All right.
I'm more, but I haven't really got to watch the interview too much. I was at my mom's house, and she has 1 megabyte per second
Mm.
at her house.
We got to go to SCB 10X. I think is where they're hosting that. I'll probably do some snippets or something. And I saw Ebu did a pretty good series on their paper, right? The what are they calling that? Like the dark ages of crypto or something that we're in right now.
Yeah, I dare say that.
So there's some good info there. I haven't parsed my way all the way through that 40-page document. They use some flowery language, I think. For such a it's more an opinion piece, I think, and forward-looking statements than like
true analysis, but I mean, hell, I appreciate that. Like if you want to say like we're in the dark ages now and Algorand is going to be the shining light, like I'm all for it. But you do kind of like have to piece through some of the opinion stuff there and kind of figure out, okay, they've got these, these algo genius contracts that are coming up, and the combination of, like serialized trigger items that make it easier for developers to work on Algorand. I thought that was really interesting. I don't know. I'm not a developer by any means, but the way that they stated it makes a ton of sense to me. And hopefully just the common senseness of it will draw some other folks in.
I'm excited to see what kind of development we're going to be able to do now that we have the AVM,
Yeah.
like, because we were so limited beforehand. Now we get the doors wide open to whatever your heart desires to develop, and especially especially being able to write in Python on Algorand. Like, I don't know any other blockchain where you could develop on Python.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to hear from the Reach team, like how Reach can like multiply the possibilities of development there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to hear from them, because I think they're going to be huge. They can bridge everything. They can solve so many problems, and yeah, I'm excited about Reach so much, actually.
I think they're busy with the balancer implications or implementation. I can't even say it right. But yeah, naturally, I think they're focused mainly on getting balancer on Algorand right now, because they're the ones building it technically.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I don't know how the crew separates their time and energy and what their priority projects are, but it does seem to me that CBDCs are a priority for them as well. I liked his comment that said, essentially, I promise there's going to be news on that this year, right? They tried to pin him down on that a little bit and say, okay, so does that mean you have agreements yet? And he was like, I promise you'll see some news this year. How much of that is realistic, you think?
Well, I mean, there's really no telling. And I mean, with the digital wand, like, literally being unveiled this Winter Olympic, I feel like we'll start seeing what I like to call government FOMO before you know it.
Huh.
Well, mainly because
I think we're already in that government FOMO, actually. Like, government have been interviewing basically all the industry, and of course Algorand has been in talks with many countries, and now it's just the time, the decision making from politicians that will trigger the release.
I know the IMF has a lot of influence on who's going to be able to get the CBD at their country first and whatnot, because Kiffmeister actually made a post saying that the Marshall Islands thing was like going to either be delayed or not happening right now, because the IMF convinced him of it.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
Kiffmeister's a guy here on Twitter. He's actually he used to work for the IMF.
Huh.
Yeah, and, you have to follow John Kiff on that, and it's absolutely correct for the IMF. The fact is the Marshall Islands is still connected to the USD, and this is the main issue about why then they're saying do not go forward with their SOV options. So there seems to be some politics at play, and I think it's interesting because in the fall they formed their advisory committee for the SOV, which Micali is part of, in order to bring it forward. However, it looks like the IMF is really putting a block on it at the moment. What I do find curious is that when Micali is still talking even today, he's still bringing it up. So I think that's something we should still be a little bit hopeful towards, that maybe the solution may come forward.
Also, the strange thing is, after Kiffmeister said that, Jerome Powell did say a digital dollar is in our near future. So this is all like tinfoil hat speculation here. But what if, naturally, the U.S. government was interested in the technology first and would rather freelance it to the Marshall Islands, since they already use USD, instead of them being like the initiators of it? Because I personally don't think small countries will benefit from CBDCs. like they think they will, to be honest. Especially in this early stages right now.
Maybe not, but they are first movers, which I think is what is kind of interesting, right? So we have the Bahamas Sand Dollar, that's still moving forward quite a bit. They're now moving just to figure out how to do the offline CBDC, central bank digital currency options, and then I think we'll see some options coming out of Africa and some other countries also in the Bahamas as well going forward. So I do think they'll be first movers, but you're absolutely correct for the regulated, much more cautious approach. That's going to take a few years, both the United States and also with the European Union.
And I think also to continue on that point, like small countries and Ireland especially, it's very difficult to move cash physically. Like in European country or in the US, it's easy. Like we have all infrastructure to move the cash, but in small country, poor countries, like difficult terrain and islands, you need a faster way to move cash for the people and the banks, obviously.
I mean, we do see that Algorand does follow the president of Bermuda, so maybe that's an early indicator, which could be kind of interesting. And then we also know that Sylvia McCallie is a contributor to the MIT Digital Currency Initiative that is working with Boston Feds for the U.S. digital dollar, which is what we're really looking forward to seeing their initial report coming out, hopefully in a few weeks, and that might give us some indicators as to whether or not Algorand or Algorand technology is involved.
Yeah, the DCI is key, and they have been involved in blockchain since they started founding BTC, Bitcoin, and the developers of the BTC Core. So I think the more we look into DCI, the more we'll see connections with CBDCs and Algorand being put in front.
Yeah, then going back to, like you said, how they're going to move cash easily, I think within like the country itself, it's going to move liquid and do more wonders within their country than so much outside their country. But definitely it's going to make more liquidity within the countries when they do add these, like, smaller countries do add the CBDCs. And it's going to, like Darren said earlier, after some years and they build liquidity within their digital dollar or whatever they make, there's no telling what these small countries might be pulling out,
Hey, Chris is here. It would be awesome to hear from you, Chris, like about Reach. Can we give him like the talk?
Yep, I just gave him an invite.
Did it work?
Yep.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. I'm watching my kids, so you might hear them yelling in the background.
Welcome, sir. That's fine.
Yeah, man.
Well, what specific questions would you like, or are there about Reach or what we're building or anything of that sort?
Probably about the AVM and Reach. Like, how did you connect everything together, or what is the near future for AVM and Reach?
Wonderful. So yeah, we actually just launched our the new connector to the AVM.9, which harnesses all of the new AVM features, and really, we're live. People are building. We've onboarded, I believe, at least 1,700 developers onto the Reach platform, and all of them have the ability to build on Algorand.
Wow. I think that's the future, literally. Like, you are doing an incredible job in terms of ecosystem. Like, you will build the ecosystem so rapidly.
I agree.
I appreciate it. We're growing at around 10% week over week right now. So we're very proud of everything. And I don't know if you saw, but we've raised our Series A, and the majority of that is going into developer acquisition and expanding our reach out into China and just globally.
Yeah, big markets like China and India are the future. Like, that's amazing.
I obviously agree. But yeah, if anybody has any specific questions about the Reach platform or even the applications that we're building, I'd be happy to answer.
I got a question. With the balancer building you guys are doing right now, what actually intrigued you guys about do balancer over the other AMMs on Ethereum?
That's actually a great question. So the reason why we initially were going to build the Balancer features is because we were communicating with Balancer, and they were interested in exploring other chains. That all of that being said, I'm sure you've all seen the tweet storm that they did. We've actually pulled the plug on that, and are no longer actually planning on building Balancer on Algorand. That being said, we've actually kind of switched paths to launch our own AMM with the best of all features of all of the different dexes on the space.
Oh, that's beyond interesting.
Great. Yeah. That's even better.
Yeah, my goal is in the next couple of weeks to have a demo of the blockchain portion of the AMM showing. It's just only going to be running on a local DevNet, but and it's only going to be command line, but it'll be the majority of the blockchain portion complete.
That's
That's
awesome.
that's really awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, but that's just the start. I mean, our whole idea is that we're going to be rolling out an entire suite of applications, starting with AMM, but eventually, once the AMM is complete, we will then roll over into stable coins, lending platforms, etc.
Hi, Chris. It's Darren here. Thank you for sharing that information. I'd be really curious to know, part of the initial features when you first rolled out was how easy it was to convert Ethereum dApps to Algo. And I was just wondering, how are you seeing this happening now, and what kind of momentum is taking place in this? And should we be foreseeing in the near future a lot more of previous Ethereum dApps now switching over to the Algorand ecosystem?
So one of the things that just keep in mind, so it's not even about converting existing Ethereum
Like interoperability is so important in this space, like beyond important. Like that is going to be one of the main factors to, like, in my opinion, like fourth, fifth generation blockchains. Like if they're not communicating and doing it in a more permissionless way than we are currently doing with now, then it's just not going to last, to be honest.
Yeah, and if you actually go into the Algorand website, I mean, looking forward, going into 2022, there is a lot of language focusing around interoperability as being one of their key focuses going forward. So we know they're putting the big effort right now on their tech and getting their upgrades out. So hopefully we'll see 10,000 TPS and then the 46,000 TPS and transaction finality at 2.5 seconds. And we see their policy lobbying around central bank digital currencies, which they're doing an amazing job with. But going forward, it is really about interoperability, and that will be the key differentiator, I think, for something like Algorand. And so I'm really curious to see where they're going to take it. One of the things I like about listening to Sylvia Mulcahy recently is he say, listen, like, we're not here to be the same. We're here to innovate, and we're going to continue to push the limits and in this space and try to bring new technology and new ways of working with the chain. So for me, I think that's absolutely exciting, and let's see what's possible and what Algorand's going to bring in the future.
Oh, I see Chris is back. Hi, Chris.
Yes.
Sorry for the yeah. So we changed the account, but just for the more stable connection.
No problem.
Can you repeat your question, Darren? Like, or Chris, can you continue, please? Because that was so interesting for everybody.
So I think the question was, do we see more Ethereum dApps coming over from Ethereum to Algorand? And what I was saying is, that is the wrong way to look at it. And the reason why I say that is because on the grand scheme of things, what Ethereum currently has, yes, it has 99% of the existing market, but the existing market is so small when you look at the potential of what it will be. And if you're always actually just looking at what's on Ethereum and can we get Ethereum over to Algorand, you will always be chasing, and you'll never be better. You'll never surpass what they're doing. Our view and what we're actually doing is kind of ignoring what the Ethereum developers, like, we don't market towards them. We don't really care what they're doing, because Reach makes it possible that traditional developers within a few weeks or maybe a month of learning can build the same stuff that they've spent the last years learning how to build. So we're able to go directly after the traditional developers and say, hey, why don't you build an AMM? Don't worry about learning all of the hard stuff with Ethereum or on Solidity. Just learn Reach, get up to speed, and build stuff that is better that's actually on Ethereum. And what we do is number one, we stop chasing, and number two, we open it up to all of the developers of the world rather than the few thousand that actually have experience building on Ethereum.
Thanks, Chris, for that clarification. Actually, it goes back to what David Markley from Algorand was saying, is that Ethereum is just a pond next to a massive ocean. So in terms of what you're saying is basically you're going after the ocean, and really great to hear that. Thanks for clarifying.
No problem. And it's being successful. I mean, here's a little bit of a tidbit information. The AMM that we're building right now, we have one blockchain developer that's actually building one developer building it, and he built the majority of it within the first month of him actually joining the company. And before him joining the company, never even knew what blockchain was. So we're able to actually take good developers that are building other things and give them the power of Reach, and they can get up to speed quickly and build very sophisticated things.
Yeah, I've seen some of example from your YouTube channel that is really good to follow, because we can hear from the developers themselves that just started and they pick it up and they build amazing things so quickly. It's really impressive, especially for me. I'm not a developer, so I really admire the work that you are doing. One question: can you elaborate a little bit on the mathematically proven program, please?
Yeah, it's actually it's one of the most powerful things about Reach that nobody cares about, which is funny to me, because Reach is literally the safest way to build blockchain applications on any platform. Because what we do, when you write your application in Reach, it automatically, mathematically proves the correctness of the application. Now, this is actually super, super powerful because this is not like, automatically creating tests. This is actually, it turns the application into a math problem and then generates a proof. If you remember back in like geometry, when you wrote out by hand, when it proved a formula to be correct, that's what we do automatically for traditional developers for their entire application. I mean, there's a message just today with one of the developers saying, "Hey, my application is not compiling. I think there's something wrong with Reach." And the looking into it, what happened is that he accidentally put a bug in his application that would allowed it to crash if anybody tried to do it in a certain way, and Reach caught it and wouldn't let it compile because it knew that, and he had no idea. And it's not because he's a bad developer. It's because these type of things are so easy to do in just blockchain development that our compiler caught and just prevented.
So
that's insane.
That's how undervalued Reach is. Like, it's incredible. I can't believe how undervalued it is. Like, no one knows really.
I mean,
I remember like
we need to get better at marketing. That's for sure. And if you all of you on here call can talk about Reach more, I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I always talk about Reach.
Yeah, I talk what I can. Like when you posted that video of being able to write that P2P payment in like 40 lines of code, I was like mind blown by that. I was like, wow, like this is unbelievable. I can't believe this is actually like reality.
So our AMM, the AMM that we're writing, is under 200 lines of code.
That's insane.
Like if you compare it to say Uniswap, that's sitting at like 3,000 plus lines of code, it's a big difference.
Yeah, massive.
And
Chris,
I was going to say, Chris. Yeah, sorry, Chris. You'd be comfortable about us tweeting that information out?
I mean,
or do you still want it on hold?
No, I mean, go for it. I don't care. I mean, like we are like the opposite of many developers. We actually build in public. Every single thing that I say, you can actually look at our GitHub and confirm. Like the code to our AMM has been public from the first line.
Awesome. So tweet storm coming then. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
What other questions you guys got?
That's beautiful,
like,
man.
I'm about as deep into the Algorand development community and just as you can be. So if anybody has any questions about that, I probably can do my best to answer at least.
Yes.
I definitely do. I was curious about the university affiliations and, knowing that Algorand is working with multiple universities around the world. And I'm just wondering what connections do you have to that program that they're running?
So we don't actually have any direct connections to that, but we do work with the foundation and the Inc. For introductions, because we at Reach our developer acquisition is we see it as a 3-channel approach where we're building curriculum not only for universities, but universities, boot camps, and self-paced curriculum, so that anybody can actually kind of learn in their own way. We actually have 2 conversations going on right now. I can't really say who they are yet, but one of them is a very prominent business school in the world to actually build a 3-month-long course, which we're really excited to see where that goes.
That's really good. That's how we get adoption down to like the ground level, instead of like making someone learn something and then they have to learn something opposite the minute they get in the real world.
Yeah, I mean, that's so like the way that we look at it and why it's actually the conversations with the universities are so easy for us is because we are an open source blockchain agnostic programming language. The universities don't have to like have allegiance to any chain, so it's much more open to actually have those conversations. I mean, just so like, which is actually great for Algorand, even though we're blockchain agnostic, because more developers means more people building. And honestly, when you look at it, the way that I always look at it is like a developer comes in, they build their application. They're going to choose the best chain that is the fastest, most secure, most decentralized, and the cheapest for their end users, which right now Algorand is doing really, really well with.
Very much so. And this is all beyond exciting stuff that you guys are doing here. You know, like my development skills are very subpar compared to what, like, you know, most people could do. But like when I watched like that video you did, like everything made sense to me. You know, and
Yeah, that's a point.
this is just
We're also, just so you know, alpha news. This weekend we recorded our first episode of a new series that Jay and I are doing called Better on Blockchain. I think you guys all will like that, because what the series is doing is going to be multiple episodes where we take a major centralized application or an industry, and we openly talk about how blockchain can make it better.
wow, yeah, definitely will be
Yeah,
joining that.
we need to watch it. Like I will not miss that for sure, and we need to share, because we need the young developers to start building very quickly on Algorand. That will grow the ecosystem exponentially. That's the future, and that can be
Yeah,
a
for sure.
very near future.
Can you give us
Um,
a sneak peek? Like, what was the first industry that you're talking about there?
the first industry was rideshare.
That's
Ah,
interesting. Okay.
so like Uber.
Yeah. How we would actually, so it's, we kind of analyze the industry. We ask the question, okay, well, how would we build it if, you know, we were tasked to actually build an application in this industry, and then we talk about if it's actually a good idea, what are the pros and cons, and at the end, if we were investors to investing, would we invest in this? And then also we talk about like what kind of time frame it would take to actually build it out. So it kind of like we try to talk about everything.
That's interesting. I promise you I won't be missing an episode. That's especially like with the real life use cases that, you know, your language alone could help make, you know, development much more faster and much more fluently. That's going to be some really interesting conversations to
Right. Like
hear.
the thing that we always say is that what is Reach has done has made the blockchain the easy part. So like when you actually sit down, like when we're building the AMM, the majority of the work that we're going to be putting into it is the the interface, making sure that the interface is actually the good user experience and things of that sort. Because the blockchain part, once again, it was one developer spent about a total of maybe 3.5 weeks building it. The actual interface is going to take probably 2 or 3 developers for about 2 months, and that's just JavaScript, you know, browser stuff. So like blockchain is with Reach is easy.
That's beyond beautiful, man. You're getting me so bullish. I can't wait.
I mean, me too. I mean, none of you probably knew me before I got into the Algorand community, but I've been very bullish on blockchain for a very long time, and been trying to build everything I possibly can infrastructure wise to make it successful, and it really is coming. I mean, like if you guys, if you haven't seen some of my talks on when I talk about NFTs and what the potential of NFTs are, I did one actually on the Algorand, the dev hour. I did one, but I also did, I think, a deeper one with Addy from the foundation. That was really good as well.
Actually,
No, I have not seen that one. I need
oh yeah,
to.
I
I need
remember.
to
I
find.
remember this talk, and actually, I had it was so interesting how deep NFT can go. Can you elaborate a little bit on how deep we can go and how complex NFT can be? Because people just put pictures and videos. But
Yeah.
can you explain us how can we do, for example, streaming of videos, NFT, so no one can download the movie, but we can watch it. We can watch the stream without being able to download it to protect the video or the movie.
Yeah, I mean, so like really what helps a lot is when you understand what the foundational like description of what an NFT is. Because
Yeah.
when people think about NFTs, they think, oh, you know, image collectibles, and, you know, people think, you know, like, oh, it's going to be a lot of money. In my opinion, that's cool and all, but there's a lot of hype behind it, and it's very similar to like Beanie Babies. They got really hot. People are spending $1,000 on Beanie Babies, and then people stop spending $1,000 on Beanie Babies because
Yeah.
what do you do at this point? The
Mm.
truth is like, what are NFTs? So NFTs really are it is data structure that represents ownership, right? Self-sovereign ownership. So this doesn't have to be, I mean, even the NFTs, the image itself isn't actually on the blockchain. All the actual representation is a pointer to a unique thing, and the owner is actually saved in an immutable way on the blockchain, right? So if you think about it in that way, you can actually start thinking about adding functionality to it, because it's a data structure, but it's more than just a data structure, because data structure just designates the actual ownership. But you can actually attach functions to that data structure. So you can do things like you can enforce rules when things happen. Like when a owner goes from one person to another, you can enforce something. So now what you can start thinking of is you can actually tie in things like royalties. So you can create an image and then tie the NFT to it, or you can create a song or an album or a movie or
What about an
have you,
ebook?
or an ebook. Literally anything that can be owned can be an NFT, right? Even in the real world. So now what you do is that when it transfers from one to another, what you do is that you say, when Alice sells Bob an NFT for 100 algo, 1% of it goes to Charlie, the creator, on every single sale. So now when Bob sells it to, whoever, for 1,000,000 algo, Charlie, the original creator, can still get 1%. So they can actually live for their entire life on the actual original creation, and it has to be enforced. But now what you can do is you can actually build rules on the transfer. So rather than actually, selling for just one to another, which maybe can be gamed, you can actually build in auction logic into the NFT itself. So that the only way that can actually change hands is if it goes through an auction system. So rather than actually, selling it to Bob, Alice says, "Hey Bob, I'm selling this. I'm putting this in an auction." So they trigger, and this is 100%. This requires no third parties, no auction houses, no nothing. It's completely housed within the NFT itself. I'm putting this up for auction. Now anybody can bid on that item to actually have true price discovery. So, say if Alice tried to actually sell it to Bob and was like, "Hey, I'm going to actually sell it to you for 1 algo, so I don't have to pay Charlie." You could actually enforce an auction system where it's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to sell this to you, Bob, for 1 algo, but I have to actually put it on auction." And then what could happen is that if Charlie, the original creator, goes, "It's worth way more than that," he can come in and actually buy it back and actually get the ownership again. So once again, now this is all housed within an NFT. This is not a like an auction house or anything like that sort. You could build things like you can only transfer this NFT to someone who has a different NFT. You get this. You could see say if Caesars sells a real world lifetime VIP pass, but Caesars is like, you know what? I don't want just anybody being able to get in here. So I'm going to actually build in the VIP pass that you can actually only transfer it to club members that we have actually approved and are part of our club. And that way that the VIP pass can be sold and freely moved, but it can only actually be sold to other VIP members. And you can do all of these types of things. You talk about DRM. Say you actually build DRM into the individual the item. So you buy a MP3, and to listen to this MP3, you have to hold an NFT that gives you access to it. So the player, when you actually want to actually listen to it, you hook it up to your wallet. It checks to have the NFT in, and it gives you a certain window of time that like an encoding key that to be able to listen to it. But now what this allows for is allows for you to actually sell a digital item. So that when you say sell it to somebody else, you no longer can actually listen to it, but now they can. And then you actually not only allow for this, but then you tie in the royalties things I was talking about. So now the publishing houses, the licensors, the original creators are now making revenue for every single time that it actually trades back and forth, this is actually a better thing than what it used to be back in the CD and album days, because the original creators would not see a dime of the resale market. But what NFTs would allow for is to actually allow for that market to exist. So, so I mean, I could talk for a long time about NFTs and how powerful.
From my side, you can talk for as long as you want, because that's the most interesting thing that's happening in blockchain today. Like, because you're literally talking about doing Spotify on Algorand. That is technically possible. Is it technically possible? Like,
I mean, so what it is that it wouldn't be Spotify and Algorand. It would be an entire new industry that is like a DRM, digital rights management industry that allows for trading and reselling of digital goods. You wouldn't store the MP3s on Algorand because that you wouldn't store things on blockchain. What you do is you store the ownership of things on Algorand, and you would still play them through your Spotify app. All it would be is you'd hook up your Algorand wallet to the Spotify app, and then Spotify would just check to make sure that you have rights to whatever you song that you're trying to listen to.
got it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
To go a bit further, like, where would you recommend to save the files? Like IPFS, is it like enough? Is it reliable long term?
I think that the way that people should do NFTs is that the storage of the item doesn't matter. The storage of the item can actually be redundant, where the actual where the thing is a mutable record on the blockchain. To give you an example, like what I mean by this is that, say that you buy a Algopunk or what have you, and you as an owner, you most likely want to actually have that multiple places, because what happens if IPFS goes down? It's the only place that you have stored. It's gone. The key here is that the Algorand representation on chain is a pointer to a digital identity of a thing. Now that thing can live anywhere though, but the ownership is what is actually measured on blockchain. So in my mind, IPFS or SIA, which I'm actually a bigger fan of SIA over IPFS personally, is that it is an option of redundancy. So if I owned a Algopunk or whatever, I would actually store it on probably multiple places, because the on-chain designation is the ownership of the thing that could be everywhere, and it's a pointer to the actual file. So the real value is not the actual storing the things in a decentralized way. It's storing the record of ownership on the blockchain.
Got it. It's so interesting.
Man, I think we lost Mazzoni. He was just here. I was hoping to bring him into that NFT conversation. I think Alex is with us, but I think he's traveling right now. He may not be able to chime in, but I know that their Algodex is like their sexy project that gets all the attention, but their NFT marketplace is also really interesting, and I think that's kind of like on the back burner right now, but it's still kind of cooking.
So I'll talk about a little bit about an NFT marketplace that I've been working with. I'm not allowed to say who it is yet because they asked me not to blab about it, but there is a NFT marketplace that has royalties actually built into it already coming to Algorand. I keep trying to get them to leak out a demo to you guys, but they're trying to hold off until it's ready to actually just launch. So they're going to do a big announcement and pretty much launch at the same time.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
The community. If anyone from the community has a question, please just request to speak. I will give you immediately the rights.
Somebody sent me a question that said, what impact the AVM has, if any, on the work that you're doing.
I mean, it's the reason why the AVM came about is because of our partnership with Algorand. Like we've been actually working with Algorand directly on making it full featured enough to be completely to remove all reason whatsoever from building anywhere else. So the release of the AVM is extremely powerful because it puts the AVM on par with the EVM.
Love it.
Some other questions I would ask you about maybe future different applications that could be built on Algorand. What about like a VPN? Do you think that's possible on something like on Algorand? Like some,
No. So you have to think about it is that like when you're thinking about things of that sort, it it's you need to think actually at what level do things sit. Like a VPN on like a blockchain VPN, the way that it would actually work at all if you wanted to do something of that sort is that you would like what blockchain is good at is lowering the cost of verification. It's not good at compute. It's not good at storage. It's not good at any of those things. So there's a paper out there that's called Some Simple Economics of Blockchain by Christian Catalini, who's I believe an advisor of Algorand, and Professor
Yes.
Gans, I believe. I recommend all of you read it because what it does is it does a really good job of outlining what the true value of blockchain is. And it helps you actually start thinking of like what industries will blockchain really revolutionize. And the like to give you a quick summary of it is that it lowers the cost of verification. So any industry that has a high cost of verification, blockchain will actually be very good there.
gotcha.
All right. Any question from the community? I think we would love to hear from Alex, but I don't know if he can connect. I keep inviting him to be a speaker, but maybe his connection is not stable.
Yeah, I believe he's traveling, so he's just chiming in right now.
Cool.
Is what they said. But one thing I am excited about is the real estate side of NFTs, especially with like Lofty, and then I've had another one called, I think it was called Rune. Follow me. I'm about to check and
Rove,
verify that.
RHOVE, I think.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, they're doing commercial property versus Lofty's doing I think primarily residential. So they're attacking the commercial side of it, and it's I think they're also fractionalized ownership, but not necessarily by property. I think that they might be collecting a basket of properties, almost like a fund, versus just a fractional ownership in a single home. I don't hold my feet to the fire on that, but I think that's what their plan is.
Still very any kind of like different aspect of things for us to try and figure out which one we're gonna like the best. It's all gonna be good.
Yeah, 100%. I follow Republic, which was like an investing tool, and they did Republic's own fund, I guess, was run on Algorand. So they've got some Algorand connections there, but they've got one on there right now called City Funds. I'm not super familiar with it, but they do residential based on a particular city, which is kind of interesting. I would like that idea to kind of like seep into one of these, blockchain associated, investment firms where, let's just say I want to invest in the Dallas market, but I don't know, like Lofty has, 3 houses in Tennessee, but let's say we raised, $10 million and bought a whole basket of properties, and then the risk is separated between all of those properties versus just one house is what I would like to see at some point in the future. I think that idea appeals.
That actually is a very interesting concept, because especially you naturally move around, like right now, like you said, like the Texas housing scene is exploding right now. Like properties are being bought left and right here in Texas, compared to somewhere like New York and California, which were major hotspots beforehand, but they're actually losing people more than they're gaining now. Like when I lived in Austin, like 130 people are moving there every day. And to be able to capitalize on that real estate, no matter where you lived, could be a very powerful tool. And especially when you start region locking it, like you say right there, that would be even more, intriguing.
I agree. So somebody just shot me a question about Algo as a payment method, specifically tying into the Amazon rumors that are going around now. So the Amazon rumor is they posted a job opening for somebody to head up their crypto payment sector. And I don't know if Algo is directly associated with them, but I think BitBoy kind of connected the dots there. Whether or not there's anything really there, I don't really know. But I think it is interesting though that crypto as a payment is, starting to pick up some speed. We got, a couple of different companies that are doing that. I know one in Australia, and I don't know anybody else that's doing it, on a big scale yet. But I mean, what if Amazon goes live, and they've got a drop down menu of what crypto you want to pay for?
Well, that could have been also part of like where Apple posted, for some blockchain specialists to come work for them. And I imagine that'd be for their Apple Pay as well. So I imagine once one starts looking interest, the other start to spend some money for, some interest as well.
Mm-hmm. So I've got the Coinbase card. So I don't keep a lot of funds on Coinbase. I'm not a huge fan of Coinbase, but they did have the card, and I wanted to support that. Similar to, I just want to support that, like that movement there. So I want to make sure that they get some traction on it, so others follow. But I hooked up Algorand to it. So I go out for cocktails or drinks. If we've got an Algofam meetup here in Texas, I'll pay with Algo. So I can pay with Algo just about anywhere now using that Visa card. But it's still difficult to it's like one level removed from what I really want. Like if I could go to Amazon and not pay with that credit card, but just plug in my Algorand wallet, boomski.
Yeah, that would be the next step. But the Coinbase card is sweet. I would like it when we start moving USDC on the Algo network. But that's still going to be beyond interesting.
I mean, I can speak just from the Reach company, everything that's where I use USDCA every chance I can get, because it is so easy to actually move money around. It's so easy to actually use that. And then, when you compare it to using USDC on Ethereum versus Algorand, it's not even comparable. I mean, like it costs you what 1/100th of an algo to transfer USDC on the Algorand network, and on Ethereum it costs what, like $10, $5.
I have a question about the real estate, if I may.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
So back to the real estate, and I'm a realtor here in Las Vegas, and I understand the transaction using your debit card, credit card, whatever. But I know it's starting to happen in the commercial realm. What kind of escrow companies are dealing with crypto? Because if I can market, hey, here we go, buy it with this. What kind of escrow? Because I'm assuming you're going to need an escrow no matter what. Do you know any information about that?
Not particular off the top of like that. What more of the crypto side of it is more of a fractionalized ownership is what we've seen so far from the Algorand side.
I mean, I'd like to dig into this a little more, because escrow is one of the easiest things in the entire world to do on blockchain. I mean, I'll give you an example. I don't know if any of you saw or not, but I asked somebody in the community to build what I call Project YOLO, because once again, I use crypto all the time. I make payments in crypto, everything, and sending a new address crypto always makes my stomach hurt. So you send a small amount, ask if they got it, and then you send the full amount and hope you didn't make a mistake with repasting it in or anything of that sort. And I was sick of that. So what I did was I kind of outlined a project, said, hey, so what I want to do is I want the same flow, except that say if I want to send Bob $1,000 in USDC, I can actually just put the address in, put the full amount in, let Bob know, hey, I sent you that money. They can then withdraw it, and if I put the wrong address in, or if they don't withdraw it, I can actually pull it back out. So but that's literally an escrow. What you're doing is you're putting the full amount into an escrow. It's completely in a smart contract, and then the Bob can see it and then withdraw it. And if they don't withdraw it, you can actually take it back. But it's literally an escrow.
Very nice. Thank you.
There is a company right now called Figure, and I don't know if any of your clients have gotten a Figure mortgage yet, But there is a company out there called Figure, and it started by the same founder as SoFi. SoFi is kind of making a move from student loans to mortgages, so they've got some pretty good branding out there. But their owner or their founder, Mike Cagney, opened up a separate company called Figure out of Silicon Valley. And it's not on Algorand, so it's not on our blockchain, but I do like the fact that he is out there and he's using it. He uses a blockchain called Provenance. I think it's Provenance. And so he doesn't have title necessarily on blockchain, and he's not using it as a currency, more as a tool for storing data and validation.
Got it.
But it's
I'm waiting
coming.
for it. I'm waiting with open arms. So it's
Yeah.
nice to see it being developed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question, because it's amazing that we can connect like your profession to blockchain specialists like Chris, and probably for Chris it's easy to like organize something that you really need in your industry.
I don't think it's a far reach
100%.
to get a over-the-counter type of exchange like Falcon or somebody out of San Francisco to pair with a title company. Because from the title company perspective, like to handle escrow and what have you, they probably want near instantaneous or some kind of standard exchange rate. And I think an OTC counterpart would be good for that, because otherwise, a $300,000 blockchain exchange, that might mess up the markets.
Exactly.
But I could see where, in the real estate market, so funding from so let's say you go to Quicken Loans or Rocket or whoever, and sending that money to the title company. Now they say they send the wire transfer in the morning and it gets there. If it doesn't get there before 3 o'clock, sometimes you got to wait till the next day. They're East Coast, you're West Coast. Like sometimes it jacks everything up and you got to wait a day. And then I don't know if your state's a table fund state or what have you, but on a purchase transaction, it's usually same day, flow through. But sometimes it's not, and the drag period can be a hassle sometimes
For everybody.
Yeah. So, and then if you're doing a refinance, probably not so much in your world, but in a refinance transaction, the lender has to send the money to the title company, and the title company escrow, they kind of act like the money police, and they distribute the money to make sure the old lender gets paid off. And there's very often, a day or 3 lag time there versus blockchain. You could instantaneously transfer and it would trigger the distribution. You could set all of that up ahead of time with the Algogenius type of contracts. So I am eagerly awaiting this, just like you. In fact, I've been in the ears of a couple of title companies trying to get them to do it, but the appetite for risk is not huge there. And the title companies are also scared that we're going to start eating into their lunch, because if your house is an NFT, what good is the title company? Because title in Nevada might take 3 or 4 days to get.
That's your new third party.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it would reduce fees. So I think they're worried that it's going to encroach on their fee structure. But really, they should embrace it before somebody else does and cuts them out of it.
Well,
they should embrace it
now and incorporate it and set you apart. I mean, it would totally change, and eventually everything's going to be funneling to a different program. So might as well be part of that and make money while you're doing it. I'm sure they're going to include their fees in the beginning, and we'll pay them gladly to be part of that. Yeah, so if anybody hears of a title ready to hit it, let me know.
Right. Well, I'll let you know. I'll hit you a follow right now.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I'll get off my soapbox about real estate now.
So I actually have a question for you guys. So like I told you, the first better with blockchain that we're doing is Uber. What would you like to see us do next?
For me, it's like a streaming, like video streaming video streaming that no one can download the video to take it off. Like to protect the video from being downloaded by any kind of user. So you can only watching like a stream. That would be my answer.
Yeah, the issue with that though is that video streaming with the blockchain is I think a huge industry, but it's not because of super secure DRM, because you can have super secure DRM without the blockchain. So the blockchain doesn't really make that part better. It would what would make better would be the ownership of the streams, and that is what blockchain would actually could make better. But yeah, I think just streaming like media, both music and video, would be a great topic.
A social media
yeah,
would be pretty fantastic as well. Just
yeah.
Sure.
And most importantly, to reward the creator, the video creator. Would it be a movie or just a video, like a YouTube video? YouTuber can protect his video and can earn royalties on the video without the video being used. Like if every second of the video is protected, that would be, in my view, amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we're actually talking to a very reputable licensing company right now in the music industry that wants to actually use blockchain for future licensing like that.
Sounds amazing.
I think the royalty thing is really intriguing. So, a few years ago, I invested on like a Kickstarter to help a movie get made with, it was like Kristen Bell, she was like the detective, Veronica Mars, right? So Veronica Mars was crowdsourced through Kickstarter. But what if, you had the ability as a creator or producer to say, okay, I want to go fund this, maybe it's Algostarter, or I guess Algostarter's already taken, but something like that. And then you could buy, NFT shares of this property, similar to how Lofty does it on a house. And yeah. I think that idea has legs.
I mean, it's not even that hard really to do, because it's just a combination of crowdfunding with like royalty generating NFT, and combining the two together. And that's that. I think that's the solution. That would be pretty easy thing to build too.
Hey, we got John Mazzoni Chris, back on. Can somebody invite him to speak?
Yeah,
he's stuck in listener mode now. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I forgot who was hosting it.
Yeah, Chris, I just have a quick idea like this. Like, it would be awesome if we could have one of your developers to tell his story here, like one Sunday. Like we're gonna run this every Sunday, so it would be amazing to hear a real story, like a story of someone learning quickly how Reach works and what he can build with such infrastructure.
Yeah, no, I try to actually do we have like tons of videos of people actually real people completely unprompted giving their stories on our YouTube channel. But I probably convinced one of them to come and join.
Yeah, I've seen some of them. They were really interesting. That's why, and also like being able to ask them question, like to bring developers to ask them question to facilitate the communication would be great.
I will ask one of them to come.
Thank you.
I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier, but if you're looking for ideas for your series, I think the real estate market would be a good one to focus on for one of your episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I think real estate is actually like the crazy thing is that like almost everything can be an NFT. Like like all of the suggestions so far, it starts with an NFT because it's ownership. Like that's what we're always talking about, is actually like is immutable, ownership with provenance. And that's what blockchain excels at. And then it is bolting on features to that ownership and rules of exchange, and strapping on escrow, strapping on auctions, strapping on royalties. Like it's literally almost everything.
I mean, with the used car market alone right now, because with the semiconductor shortage, used car sales are about to pass up new car sales right now. And for the fact that people, if we get NFT like all these titles to cars instead of doing it through a title office and all these third parties, and people can actually trade their car, the ownership of it through blockchain would alone be phenomenal right now. And especially with like I said, like it's crazy how much the used car market right now has exploded since the semiconductor shortage.
I mean, just like to build just like for titles would be, less than a month of work. The hard thing there is not the actual building the technology. It's the behavior change and making people use it.
Yes,
Exactly.
100% there.
What if
We need to
what if-
communicate more.
what if Tesla put all their Teslas on an NFT? Would the cost of a Tesla drop because Tesla could put in a royalty function if they resold a Tesla in the future? Tesla would make a small fee if it ever got resold on the secondary.
100%. That would be awesome. Like,
That's so
imagine
smart.
if like Tesla put all of like their every sale of car goes through an NFT system, and they receive 1% of every sale for the history. They could lower the initial cost, because they would be making it over time. I mean, I think that's you get somebody like big like Elon to push that. That's how you see big changes.
Yeah, that would be that behavioral change that you're talking about.
Exactly, but it's somebody that has that a power to change the behavior. I mean, it would really require a big move like that, where hey, it's like Tesla comes out and says, hey, if you do like on-chain titles and title changes, we'll actually sell the initial car for cheaper or something of that sort. Or I don't know. That would be awesome, is what it would be.
I do like the implementation you made there with the 1% taker fee they get from every time their title is like exchanged. That would be game changing for the car industry.
Exactly. I mean, like, yeah, it would be like, and you think about it, it would like the pain of buying a car, keep putting that all on the blockchain with escrows. You put the money up, the money is there, tracked, and then when it's transferred over, you see how much it was actually sold for. I mean, I feel like governments would love it because it would make it easier to regulate that. I mean, I know a lot of people are against regulation, but governments aren't. But like, it would be a better system overall.
It'd be more honest. That is 100% sure. And the whole regulated side, like you said, that I don't really see anything bad about it, because to be honest, if there was no capable of lying, the money issues that we see within our nations probably wouldn't be as bad as they are now.
All right, so I know what my next crowdfunding idea is going to be now. So we'll have to pull some funds and invest in something like that. I know we got John on here. We finally got him as a speaker. He had to drop off earlier. But John, I would love to hear some news from you on, I know as I was saying before, the Algodex is kind of the sexy project, but I know you guys are working on other projects too. And I'm not sure how much of the NFT stuff you're involved in, but I'd love to hear from you.
Hey guys, sorry if it's super loud. We're traveling right now. We're at the airport. We're going down to Miami, but yeah. So the Algo NFT marketplace is coming along. We've got a lot of the design done, a lot of the UX done. Now we're just working on the smart contracts, which is where Alex comes in. Alex is very busy with the decks though, so it's kind of something on the back burner right now, unfortunately, just due to bandwidth. If Alex is working on the NFT marketplace smart contracts, then he's not working on the Algodex smart contracts. So that's where we're at right now. It's probably going to be another month or so until he can actually hammer those out. So yeah, we're pushing that Algo NFT marketplace back until something like November, more than likely. But luckily, there's a bunch of other good projects already running. Zest Bloom, I know, is promising, and AB2 and Rand Gallery. So yeah, we'll come out with ours once it's real, polished and done.
Well, that's kind of good. It'll give it a little bit of time to grow before you guys get to hop into it anyways. And
Yeah. We're still focused on growing the team out, to be quite honest. And there's a lot of, funding things going on as well that are taking up a ton of our time. Not that we're complaining about it. It's just one of those things that takes up like weeks to months, So, yeah, we're working through it. But yeah, I'm a huge NFT addict, so I need it. It's not a want for me; it's a need. To be quite honest, NFTs. I know you were saying earlier, NFTs, most of the sorry, people speaking loudly near me. Yeah, most NFTs are just, like pixel art or some sort of little, gag image kind of thing. But they are immutable property, right? So if you like something, right, what are the chances that in 10 years someone else likes it? Now, I know you can say, okay, well, Beanie Babies, people like them, 20 years ago. They don't like them 20 years later. But Beanie Babies aren't really art, I would say. So if you're buying really good art that you like, other people like, it's kind of like a... I've always done this. That's why I invested in Ethereum, was because other people believed in it. It wasn't just me. So if other people are buying the art and they like it, then I just see the natural evolution that, okay, in 25 years, are people still going to like this? That's how I view the NFT market. Now, I know there's so much that can be done with NFTs, such as fractionalizing, shares and all kinds of things, all sorts of real world assets. But digital assets are just as important to me. I transact more digital assets than I do physical. Yeah, so that's, yeah.
I think many of us are in
Thank
that
you
same
for
boat.
your insight.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for inviting me up to speak, guys.
You're welcome.
It's always good to hear all this stuff from like the devs themselves, especially to to the people, especially this interactiveness that we can have on here. I really do appreciate you even just coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll come back every Sunday.
Nice,
Like
we'll
I
be
said,
here, man.
Awesome.
Today's a little loud in the airport, but hopefully next Sunday will be better.
Dude, that
No, it's fine.
was me last week, man. No lie.
Yeah. I saw you traveling. Where were you? The Bahamas or something?
I went to Mexico.
Oh,
And,
okay.
yeah, and then like we did right when we started the space, I just got off the airplane. Was like hopping on a taxi and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good last week. I heard you guys last week. That was my first time tuning in. So, yeah, thanks for doing this again. It's great. I'm going to retweet it every Sunday.
Awesome. Well,
Much love,
have
man.
fun down in Miami. I know I saw there's 6 or 7 of you meeting up down there, and you put the call out for more folks. But if more folks showed up, you're gonna have to find a formal meeting spot. But the Algofam is growing. That's good.
It represents, man. Everybody always comes out. The Algo meetup in NYC was so much fun, and we've been kind of thinking we want to do something similar. So we're getting this chance to go down to Miami. So we put the word out, and yeah, now we have like almost a dozen people showing up. Some from the team, some potential investors, and then just some huge algo supporters. So yeah, it should be a great time.
Are you guys going down to hang out with Borderless?
We are, yeah, yeah. Some of those guys, some other investors as well. Yeah, I can't disclose too much, unfortunately.
Understandable.
Just between us friends. All right.
Yeah, and all of Twitter. Yeah.
All right.
But congratulations for this meeting. It's amazing. So good. So happy for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. And yeah, Alex is on the phone right now, but he would really appreciate that too. So thank you, guys.
All right. Tell the mayor of Crypto Town we said hello.
Yeah, if I get a chance, I will.
All right. Who else? Oh, Evo. I know you did a series of the like your breakdown of the 40-page document that you made your way through like a pro. You want to give us like a quick summary, not to steal the thunder from your series, but maybe some teasers or something you want to throw out there? Algo HQ went quiet.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know if his connection is good because he's been on and out and in and out, and I'm not sure his connection is good enough, but let's wait a little bit.
If you lose connection once, you lose all your ability to hear and speak.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe he's tuned out then. Anyway, B, I know this isn't a fame specific conversation, but we talk about all kinds of stuff in here. We talked about Yieldly last week and Opulus a whole bunch. So you want to fill us in just a little bit about the fame stuff?
Oh yeah. For me now, I really want to focus on Nigeria. Like any kind of project we can build for Nigeria and especially farmers. That's what I'm focusing on now. So, and I've been in touch with several partners, and I'm going there in October, and that's my main focus for now, to try to build as many tools as possible for farmers and small producers.
I love that that's such a feel-good story, just kind of like, grassroots kind of effort. And I saw the video of one of the farmers. I don't remember if he was in Nigeria, but he's cruising down his rows of products, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, have you listened to the whole video? I think it's a 40 minutes, something like that, or 45 minutes.
Yeah, I may have placed it on like 150% speed though.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is that there is like we can have a huge impact with blockchain in Nigeria. They already are used to Bitcoin, and now they just need to discover a better set of tools. And because they already use the phone, they didn't go through the credit cards, etc., like Western countries. So they leapfrog immediately to the blockchain. And if we help them, like really use blockchain in all its aspects, like Chris talked about, we can have the biggest boost globally, like China did a little bit, but even better. So that's why I think if we build a strong FAME community and Algorand community in Nigeria, they will be the number one. That's my bet.
Yeah, I love it.
Helping these underdeveloped countries is going to be really key to I feel like to the more widespread adoption on the side of blockchain, because they're the ones that are going to truly benefit off of this more than any other aspect of anyone else.
Exactly. Also, the fact that the young people are less stagnant in terms of habits. If we teach and if we help a little bit, like young farmers, like the one you saw in the video, and they can be also teachers for farming, obviously, but also like selling, marketing, using blockchain, using those tools that are the tools of the future, they will gain such an advantage. And also those countries suffer from these awful governments. Like Twitter was blocked like 1 month ago, I think. The president just shut down Twitter like this because Twitter didn't post one of his stupid posts. And I think we really need to help like the local people go locally, very local, to help the neighborhood, the small community, and also to try to build something like a social network that is not dependent of any government. I don't know if it's possible. We need Chris to help us for that, and people, developers from Reach, to maybe they can do that. But I think that's the future, the social network and the farming, food.
Did you guys see that the social network that's one of the teams built in one of the bounty hacks?
No.
Yeah, it's it's a proof of concept, but it's a censor resistant way to blog. It's a pretty cool project.
Wow. What's the name again, please?
I forget what the name of it was.
Okay.
But I think I did an interview with them, so it was one of the teams that I interviewed on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm actually in touch with one of the project like this. So we are already trying. We are working on that type of solution, but it is pretty hard. So I'm sure we could benefit from some help from Reach at one point. I will probably reach to you, Chris, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do. I'm always here to help people out and give them advice and everything that's needed.
Thank you.
So can y'all hear me now? I'm on a train still, but is it too loud?
No, we
No, we
got you
can
now.
hear you, bud.
All right, great. So yeah, sorry for missing most of this call, but I love the conversation about the NFTs. That was happening about like 25 minutes ago. I was listening in.
I lost him again.
Yeah, there he goes.
All right, he's through the tunnel.
Yeah, trains are not a good idea. Like to connect, we cannot really hear the people.
No. It gets hard, especially like I said. Once you lose connection in this Twitter space, there's like a bug where you can't hear a talk. Once you lose connection, you have to like leave, come back, and just restart everything all over again.
Yeah, maybe we can hear from the community. Like, if anyone wants to say hi and introduce any kind of subject, feel welcome.
I see
please.
Eldar in the audience. Man, I love a bunch of his tweets.
Yes, Elder's a G in the algo community.
I invited him to speak 2 times. Elder, you're welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Ibu came back for a second there.
I want to talk about like the 40-page Arrington document, but I don't want to drop out again and leave people hanging. So I might just save it for next week.
That's fine.
Sure, yeah. The connection is too bad. Yeah, next week we will talk about it.
Yeah, I'll be doing those videos for a few more days anyway. So next week I'll give in next week's call, I'll give like a longer full breakdown of the whole thing. Like kind of combine all the videos into one and like give everyone like the TLDR. But basically what I was gonna say real quick is that I'm making some NFTs with my friend and they're gonna be tickets for this event because he's an artist and we're both artists and he throws events for artist networking to have people show their art, show their music, show their film, show their photography. And the question is, how do we actually make these NFT tickets valuable? Like, what is the incentive for people to buy these tickets as NFTs rather than just on Eventbrite or like Ticketmaster or whatever else we use? So it has to it was really what I was thinking about earlier in the conversation. It definitely has to do with the immutability of the NFT itself, and that permanence has to last as long as that NFT lasts. So I think the way that we're going to do it is by making the NFT not only an animated ticket, but a smart contract sellable artwork, like where people who owned it before get a percentage of the remaining percentage that can come, that can be monetized after we sell it. So let's say we keep 5% of all proceeds as that NFT ticket gets sold. So the reason it's valuable, we were thinking, is it'll just be a permanent VIP ticket to any of these events. So you can come to an event 10 years from now, and if you have this NFT still, you'll still get VIP access, or maybe it becomes more valuable over time, and you sell it 3 or 4 times, or it gets sold 3 or 4 times, and then it's worth a lot more. But it's just, the question is like, not all NFTs. I think it was John who was saying it earlier. Not everything that just becomes an NFT is valuable. I think that's the biggest misconception that a lot of people have about NFTs. It's like, just because it's art on the blockchain
100%.
doesn't mean it's actually valuable.
100%.
Because, and Chris was saying it too, and it's because what's on the blockchain is not the art. It's the link to the art. It's like the proof that you own the art, but the art is still public. Like, there's a million pictures of the Mona Lisa, but there's only one, and like no one argues with that. One thing I think that, because my sister is also a physical painter, so I'm thinking really hard about how to get her art into this crypto world and able to tap into that capital, but she paints physically. And I think doing something like engraving a QR code on the inside of the frame could be something like really simple, and that would be a physical representation where when you scan that, or sorry.
No worries. I know some folks do NFTs based on physical assets. So there's a guy who does little miniature cars, like metal cars, die-cast cars, and you buy the NFT and you can exchange it for the car.
Yeah, exactly.
So like what you could do
Hold on,
too
one
for like the painting thing is that there's actually a lot of ways to actually tie real world items into to the actual metaverse, if you will. There's ways you can actually encode IDs into like DNA and be able to actually inject that into the item so that you can't ever remove it, and you can actually just scan it to pull it. You can do things like get a small NFC chip and put it actually underneath the paint and paint over it so that it's always there. You actually use your phone actually to pull information off, and if it's ever removed, it'd ruin the actual painting itself. There's lots of options like that.
That's an amazing idea.
I mean,
Have you heard of what?
like,
Sorry to interrupt you, Chris. Have you heard of what Damien Hirst did? It's just the other day.
I don't think
He's
so.
an art. He made a set of, I believe, 100 paintings, and you can either have the NFT or you can have the real life painting, one or the other. So you get the NFT by default, the digital version, and then if you want the physical version, you have to send your token to a burn address. So you can't have both. And then if you send your NFT to the burn address, they send you a physical. So there's another option for your sister, Ibu.
Yeah, that's a cool idea, and I wonder if you can burn the physical art to get the token back. Like,
It only goes one
I think
way.
it's kind of a one-way.
Yeah, it's one way.
One-way street there, which I think well, that's a good idea. In some, I think it needs to be trustless, as trustless as possible.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of centralized authority is, sending out those paintings. Obviously, there has to be one because a smart contract can't ship a painting. I mean, I suppose, I guess never say never, but yeah, I don't think it can.
So
maybe we will see
actually
robots in the future that are controlled by smart.
Algofam.
Or
No, it would like when the physical arrives. It could be in the artist's hands where once my
I mean, the like comic books have been doing this forever, where you buy the actual physical copy. So like they both are like or on the NFT on the blockchain actually, like a lot of people like need to wrap their heads around is that an NFT isn't the item. An NFT is just record of ownership, and it's a pointer to a thing that can be digital or it can be physical. It's not the actual thing.
And that's why like in the example of fame token or the tickets that I'm gonna make for the event with my friend, the NFT itself, we're tying a physical animation to it for marketing purposes and flashiness purposes. That really is what it is. but the value of it is beyond that. It's the VIP access to the parties. So, and that can be passed and sold and resold as, you know, the community grows, let's say. And that's what's more important. It's the verification that you have the
Right.
access and you didn't have someone screenshot their VIP ticket and like send it to you.
Exactly. So like one of the things that that we're kicking around um, is discounts on e-com stores if you have certain NFTs. You could tie that ticket to that as well. So or we're actually talking to venues that's where if you actually purchase the ticket to get access to it, you then can actually access their swag store, which then you can actually buy more NFTs, but only if you actually went to the actual the event. And it's one of those things where you can do so much with it because it is it's it's connected to your identity at that point, and your identity can then have functionality.
Exactly. It's a kind of member card, like membership. It's a proof of membership, and we can do so much with them. And membership cards are everywhere in every field.
I'm not sure how many
we
of
need
you
to
guys
create
are
an Algorand stub hub for all the tickets that are going to get made, and we're just going to put StubHub out of business, right? Because we're going to need a huge secondary market for all of these.
We are. Another great use for NFTs is like gaming. I'm not sure how many of you guys are like play CS:GO or League of Legends, but like the skin, like for CS:GO, for instance, you can sell and trade your skins on there. But there's been so many like CS:GO gambling websites and scam things. You know, no real way to verify that they actually own these skins that they claim that they're, you know, auctioning or gambling off to people. And I feel like blockchain, you know, when it comes to like, you know, the NFT side of like, you know, like these skins, these games, because the gaming industry, when it comes to like these skins and like, you know, like costumes that these characters could wear, it's a huge marketing scenes, and they have so many like ban accounts just for people trying to sell it and etc. Even though there's a marketplace for it and they don't offer like the skin anymore. It could be like seasonal or just for like this tournament or so forth.
I mean, you can take it to the next level. So number one, the reason why it doesn't exist is because it costs hundreds of dollars to mint an NFT on Ethereum, and that's the only way that people actually can think of it now. On when Algorand, gets the NFT marketplace up and rolling, and with APIs, you're going to see a lot more NFTs in games. But the cool thing about NFTs in games is that because when you own a NFT in a specific game, you actually have ownership of that NFT, which means a NFT that you own in a single game can be used in multiple different games without them like approval. So like imagine this way where say you're playing the future World of Warcraft and your character itself is an NFT. It's an NFT that can actually hold other NFTs, but but you actually own that NFT, the character NFT, and you could go and actually play a game like a first-person shooter with that same character because you actually own the character itself, and the video game makers are building the game on top of a public good, which I think would be really neat.
That would be extremely interesting. Like be able to play by John Wick on any game. That'd be cool.
Exactly. I mean, like going like the NFT thing a little bit more. I have a side project that I'm working on that uses Reach, but it's a completely independent project that requires us to actually mint over 2 million NFTs, which would never be possible on Ethereum. So because of like the how reasonably priced everything is on Algorand, this project that I'm doing is possible.
That's beautiful. And like with the gaming side of it, like you said, with the Algorand, especially the fork, you know, the no forking side of Algorand, with like these kind of NFTs, especially when we start talking about like, you know, like billion-dollar companies like Epic or Blizzard hopping in the game for like NFTs for their games, they're going to want to make sure that, you know, it can't be, you know, essentially copied on a different chain. So I feel like that's where another reason Algorand will succeed in the NFT game, especially in the gaming industry.
So many applications. It's just so wide open. there's anything that's collectible or exchanges hands on the secondary market quite a bit. There's a company called StockX right now that started with selling sneakers, right? Because huge market for collectible sneakers. They could use NFTs. Even like if you think about like pawn shops, what if you brought in something and they manufactured an NFT for that item? You got to prove show proof of ownership or something, and then there's just so many applications there that it could get started. It just needs time and energy and somebody creative enough to kind of make it happen.
I mean, the same thing with wine, liquor, things that actually provenance matters, and their NFTs are going to be used so much more often on everything, physical items, digital items. It's just going to be actually a record of ownership, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, NFT are central, and I think, Chris, do you have like a project around supply chain, like building with Reach?
We're not building anything. I do know that there was actually somebody that built a POC for supply chain as a university project in out of Germany. He actually launched the proof of concept, I think, last week. So I know people are actually working on that stuff.
Because that's the future of commerce. Like we want to know where the products comes from. Like a shoes, where is it a real one? Is it a real brand? I want, like, for instance, and how did he get there to create his own farm out of nothing without any money, basically, and how he created a job. So I want him to be famous. Like that's the concept of fame, like to make real people that deserve it famous. And I would like, if I buy a tomato, to be able to scan and to have the whole story of this person, of this particular person. That's why I'm very interested into supply chain for food and products too, like breads. Do you see any future in that, Chris?
I mean, extreme future. I mean, I think like medicine is another thing. There's like this goes back to what I said earlier about the cost of verification. So everything in the world that there's a high cost of verification, blockchain will excel at. And supply chain, there's billions of dollars of fraud.
Exactly. Like medicine is key, food is key, clothes like brands, etc. But food and medicine, this is the most important thing. Like how is it not bigger? Like it's incredible.
The entire medical supply chain should be on chain. Also, all biological research. And with that being said, I think I have to go. Going underground.
Yep.
Understood.
He just disappeared again. He's like, I mean. That's funny.
Nah, sorry.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'll be back next week. I was just traveling today, but I'm about to have to peace out. It's been a busy one. Next week, tune in. I will give a rundown on the 40-page Arrington document. I'll draft something up. I'll dedicate like 15 minutes to it so we can really get in depth.
Wait,
I'll give all the details.
You mean everybody just didn't read the whole thing?
Oh shit!
There's a terms of service? Oh no!
All right, see you guys later.
All right, later, bud.
Bye. Take care. Hey, we have Chris. Chris, how are you, my friend? Chris was the one who interviewed Kingsley from Nigeria. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. How y'all doing over there?
Awesome. How are you doing? How is your channel going? Like, I love the content you put, like very educational.
Oh, thank you. It's growing. Big shout out to the Algo community. And yeah, it's going great. And I do want to also still get an interview with you, Bilal, and a few others that are in this chat right now.
Sure, whenever you want. I'm ready.
For sure. Okay, I'll send some DMs out. But yeah, how's everybody doing today?
Doing fantastic, man.
Very good. We should all just guest
Doing really well.
spot on everybody else's channels, so we just take the crew around from channel to channel.
Yeah, I mean that goes for me too. Is if anybody wants to actually do an interview with me, just reach out. I'll be happy to chat.
DM sent.
Yeah, we want also interviews from small stories and like interesting.
But yeah,
Sure, I think I can come up with some dope questions. I'll do some research, and we'll make it fun.
sounds great. Oh, look at Ryan. Ryan's here.
Oh, Ryan, where is he? I will add. Yeah, he's a speaker. I hear from you.
Maybe got stuck on mute.
Sorry, guys. Let me get my audio sorted.
I'll just
Yeah,
speak
we
for
can hear
Ryan
you
real
now.
quick.
No problem, man.
He's just gonna say how awesome Reach is, so that's all he's gonna do. Right, Ryan?
Chris and Ryan, like building everything together. Like you have to interact so much.
I talk to Ryan multiple times every week. Ryan is awesome. He's super helpful, and I'm very happy I get to work with him.
Do you work with Jason too?
Jason as well. I mean, pretty much I work with, let's just say everyone on the Algorand team in one way or another.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, guys. I'm at the airport lounge and I'm going on holiday and I'm trying to just get my audio sorted, so just give me a sec.
We can hear you perfectly, Ryan. So it was nice.
Yeah.
I know my problem is, and I'm trying to get it in my ears so that I can hear you guys, because I got to go back and forth.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, one thing that maybe a lot of people here aren't privy to is that just like I said, I work. So I can speak. So I can say that from.
In their 2 years of being alive is algo after only 2 years.
Algorand is that my favorite thing. Contracts you might think that they're real, but they're not. Like they talk about like hypotheticals of like what it is, and they're further along than so many other chains, and so many other chains that are actually value higher. Next month never comes.
Price action of algo kind of burned a lot of outside people, a lot of, let's be honest, like most of the crypto community that get Doge to a 60 billion market cap and Cardano as well. Like no hate against Cardano, not aimed at going up quickly in terms of price. Like just not to speak about price, but I actually
Yeah, I agree. We did. Yeah, we didn't talk. Right, right.
100% us. We made the difference. There was some shenanigans
Oh
going on
man.
there.
Real world use case for it as of right now.
Not for the
No one's
public.
really using it. Not for the. Then we're gonna start, naturally seeing more retail and, public interest. Then
There was
Oh,
totally agree with that, Cody. And there was an article that Alexander Trifonis, he posted a screenshot out of it today. A third of crypto holders, right?
oh yeah, as long as we're having.
Probably one of the biggest and most useful applications,
markets is something that will make blockchain go into the mainstream. Because the way I look at it is that the existing industries out there are making plenty of money. So for blockchain to be able to be adopted and completely change the structure of how these companies are done, because let's be honest, when you use blockchain to completely restructure existing industry, the only chance of existing companies most likely won't adopt it fully for a long time. It's going to require new companies to come in and completely disrupt things. So I believe that that blockchain will be able to hit the mainstream from things that currently don't exist because blockchain didn't exist. And I can't tell you what that thing is, because if I could, I would have built it.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you. Very insightful.
It could be
this is so
be
true.
a game. Honestly, I think it could be a game, a new game, or a mod of a game, or a reinvention of the game. Because honestly, think about it. Most of the biggest games in the world were reinventions of previous games. You think about League of Legends and World of Warcraft are both reinvention, and StarCraft are both reinventions of Warcraft, and Dota as well. Fortnite is a reinvention of Fortnite, which was a different game, and then they made it into Fortnite. So it'll probably be some type of, if we're talking about digital marketplaces, not probably, I have no clue, just as much as anybody else, but it very well could be something that catches with the youth, something that every high schooler gets into, and then like it suddenly blows up, and that's a whole new generation of people utilizing blockchain for tradable items.
Yeah, maybe like as you said, maybe like VR and augmented reality can be something like the assets on this world that will be augmented. That will maybe blow up like crazy.
One thing I will say is that whatever it is, you will have no idea it's actually using blockchain, because blockchain will be the underpinning technology that will allow this amazing new thing to happen in a way that is seamless. Because if you know that you're using blockchain, it's probably not going to be successful.
Yeah, it's like electricity. We just turn on the light. We don't care about the wires.
So one thing I always say is when someone comes to pitch me a product and they start off with describing that it's a blockchain thing, it's a huge red flag for me.
Oh, why? Interesting.
That's good. Yeah, we need. It's just plumbing. Basically, it's plumbing.
I mean, because the reason if blockchain is one of the actual selling points, you're not focused on product. You're focused on the technology. Where what you need to focus on is actually how are you making the world better. And if like it's a really big signal that if people say blockchain or X on the blockchain, it's they came at it with a technology trying to solve a problem rather than actually just solving the problem.
Yeah, like using a buzzword to make money and to draw funds, etc. Yeah, I totally agree with that. We need to think about the utility first and the product and the users. The users are key.
Blockchain should be on your like fourth or fifth slide. Like, oh, and by the way, how we're going to do this is we're going to use blockchain.
Awesome.
That's like a good way of saying it.
Internet,
basically, at first assessing what problem there is and how you're going to solve it before even getting on how the technology will solve it. Because, I mean, like, blockchain's been out for over a decade now. It's nothing new. But, what problems we're solving is what's going to be, the newest, greatest thing about it.
Right. When's the last time you heard somebody pitch you a NoSQL project? And let off with the actual NoSQL as the reason why it's going to be successful.
I've just never. that's so good. I love that.
HTTPS or something like this. That would be funny.
But yeah, essentially just stop copying and maybe adding one less feature instead of just making a whole new product from scratch. That would be the game changer, like you said.
I'm waiting for the day we all our CV and resume, like immediate diplomas, the work experience, etc., all on the blockchain, and no one can lie anymore about anything.
LinkedIn for
Transparency is
blockchain.
Kind of, yeah, like a real one. That university are linked to your LinkedIn, and the actual diploma is automatically added to your profile.
As much as I would love to say blockchain is going to prevent people lying, I can't say that. I mean, you can definitely, like, this is the whole Oracle problem that people talk about, where how can you guarantee that what is actually put onto a blockchain is actually truthful? And that's a problem that hasn't been solved yet.
But
This is true.
if we have a centralized entity like a university that puts it like when they give us the diploma, that would be a kind of like verification, right?
But that's a centralized verification. I mean, so you still are trusting the university at least. So like that's like really like describing the Oracle problem is that once you actually bring the physical world in, it's very hard to not to actually be trusted still.
I see. Yeah, because someone can pretend to be a university, right?
Yeah, I mean, the university could get hacked. I mean, and at that point, it's actually even potentially even more dangerous because it's an immutable record thing.
It's
so
true,
now, say you hack the university, you get the university to use their private key to say that you have a PhD. Now, what are you going to do now? Are you going to invalidate that one? Or if you can invalidate that one, then you could invalidate any, and then you're losing the whole immutability of the blockchain.
Wow. So that's a very interesting point, like that you're making. Does it mean that the Oracle problem is a problem that we won't solve anytime soon? Like, can you go further on that?
So one thing, before I go further, this is not a throw the baby out with the bathwater problem, because this is a problem that currently exists, and just because blockchain doesn't solve this one problem doesn't mean blockchain is not good for many other things. So this is not oh well, I can't fix this, then it's done.
Yeah, naturally.
So yeah, but like this is actually something that people are trying to actually figure out right now. There's a company out there called Upshot there's a company out there called Upshot that is trying to do appraisal for NFTs, and doing that in a way that is decentralized. So there's not like a centralized appraiser, and they do it through a decentralized Oracle model. But the thing is, if you look at it, you could call a AMM, Uniswap a decentralized Oracle, because it's taking the purchases of multiple people to actually to be able to actually determine a price on something.
True.
That makes a lot of sense, and especially the certain centralized aspects that we do have, here and there in blockchain, and that's just really interesting ways of thinking about it. It's almost like not saying that I know this for a fact, but it's like the tether speculation right now. We don't know what's up with that, with their central authority, with their reserves and everything, but there's just no way we could prove it, even with blockchain.
Right. I mean, that's a great point. That's Tether is not decentralized. Tether is what I would consider what I call a little DDApp. It's a centralized company, a centralized application that utilizes the blockchain. And so you can't fully trust it because it's not fully decentralized. So, but you have to think about this with everything, really.
Very much so.
Did y'all know that only 3% of Tether reserves are backed by cash, and the 50% is backed by what's known as commercial paper? That's how they describe it.
I've looked. Yeah, I've looked into it. We until like an actual audit happens, I just don't think we'll fully know what the reserves are.
They've never had an audit in their whole existence.
Yeah, I know. That's just why I prefer USDC. They do get audited more, even though they're just as centralized as Tether, you know. But there's a low level of trust more to USDC than USDT, in my opinion. But once again, I just don't know. I'm going off of speculation and what people have told me, and just what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, Tether and Bitfinex are also owned by the same people. It's just interesting. Like, I don't. It's kind of like a thing where if it keeps going, it's working, but that's kind of Ponzi-ish. So I don't know. Tether is really they've evaded a lot of like obstacles so far, but maybe unrelated to algo, but kind of related. It's just how long could they evade the fact that they have almost no cash on hand.
Yeah, we just won't know until something happens. But if anything else, I just feel like it'll just be a change of hand of money in that situation.
I guess it'll have to be, because that's a lot of money. It's like 65 billion.
Well, to get more into the algo subjects, which we're all here for. Why don't you give us a little brief down of what you think about that Arrington paper? Just a quick run over.
Sure. So, well, it was essentially, there are a few parts. The first part describes how blockchains have gone from decentralization as the main focus, like Bitcoin, decentralization of money, to now layer 2 solutions that are centralized because they're fast and cheaper. So the markets for finance have not actually changed much, even though they've come on chain, because people are still willing to give up the actual point of decentralization for speed. But then you're putting a lot of trust in, things like Polygon or Binance Smart Chain. So it's really saying that Algorand's pure proof of stake system, in which it's a different type of verification. It's not central. It's way much, far more decentralized, is more effective. And then it goes into talking about ETH2, which is basically the point that they were making was that when ETH2 releases, which it's still not confirmed when that will be, it doesn't really matter that it releases much, because it'll still have to be battle tested for a few years. Like, it's a whole new system. It's a whole new way of using Ethereum. It's going to change a lot, and it's not really going to be perfect. So it's not like the moment that ETH2 releases, all of traditional finance will be like, well, now this is the perfect time for me to go. And Algorand is already building those roads, which, by the time ETH2 is up and running in like 2 or 3 years, Algorand could already be far, far ahead, just based off the exponential growth of. And then it goes into some of the math, cryptographic sortition, which goes into Algorand, which is, the random volunteering of the tokens of the algos to be in the lottery for people.
I gotcha. Speaking of like,
yeah,
I was saying, speaking of like, like us essentially trading off like, decentralization for centralization, and we're very much seeing that. But with the Algorand, like you said, the pure proof of stake, I don't really feel like the market really understands how decentralized that consensus mechanism makes Algorand. Like, that was like the first thing that almost sold me to Algorand, is when I learned that I can be a validator just from holding tokens.
Yeah,
like,
definitely agree. And it's something that's one of their main points in the document. The market's severely underpricing decentralization until there's probably going to be some huge hack or huge attack. It's inevitable in the next 5 years. There'll probably be some catastrophic crypto hack. And, it'll take something like that to realize that a DEX like Algorand or AlgoDEX built on Algo, which is like literally totally non-custodial and doesn't hold any of your assets at all. It just brings things straight from wallet to wallet. It's amazing. Like, and that's just so much safer and so much more reliable than using something like PancakeSwap, which is a centralized chain, a centralized layer 2 on a centralized blockchain, which is BSC.
I think that the fact that Algorand is already contains everything that ETH 2.0 wants to be is kind of making the rounds now, and it lends credence to some of those rumors we see about the Amazons and the big institutional uses of Algorand, which is great. More attention, the better. I'm gonna have to dive into a bunch of that stuff and do a video. I'm getting messages about it and trying to follow up on that stuff. So. You know what? I got to bounce here in a few minutes, but I was really hoping that we would get Cody to like expand on some Yieldly stuff because we didn't talk about Yieldly at all today. Did we drop him? Is he still on? Because I know his Yieldly unofficial channel is popping. Like there's always a ton of activity on that. Did we lose him?
I think his connection is lost, yeah. But if he's back, I will add him as a speaker immediately. Oh yeah, he's back.
Yeah, I would love
Cody,
to hear a bit more about Yield as well.
Yeah, can you fill us in on all your Yieldly unofficial news that you got going on there?
What's that?
Can you fill us in on all your Yieldly unofficial news? Because that Yieldly unofficial channel chat that you got going is always popping, man. And we haven't talked about Yieldly at all.
I know. That thing exploded way faster than I thought it would. But we got a lot of bullish things coming with Yieldly. Naturally, we got the Opulus staking coming soon. Whenever when market conditions are better, Lee said he will launch Opulus. Which is smart. He doesn't want to have a bad launch. But that alone will help drive a lot of people to buy Yieldly, especially like a lot of Americans like myself who couldn't participate in the Opulus IDO. It's gonna drive a lot of, and the fact that you can earn it passively through your Yieldly, which anyone can acquire now. It's gonna offer a great platform for people to get onto these new ASAs that are gonna be coming on until we get the launch pad built up on Algo instead of having to use an Ethereum launch pad.
Yeah, that Yieldly. I did some math the other day, just back of the envelope math, and I'm not saying I have $100,000 set aside, but I was using $100,000 invested in Yieldly at the current price. Whenever I did it, was like, would have gotten like 16 million Yieldly or something. But staked on their website, it paid out like 200 US dollars equivalency per day, which is like 72 grand a year just by staking. Not that that rate of return won't last forever, but the rate of return on the staking for Yieldly was sick.
Yes, I've earned almost 200,000 Yieldly just from staking Yieldly. It has been very lucrative, and I'm really really blessed that the team was willing to get started this early on the platform, and they've been really good about getting us information as they're putting it out. Naturally, the Binance Smart Bridge will be the next thing after the partner staking that they're doing right now with Opulus and other tokens when they get live. But the Binance Smart Bridge will be I feel like it's going to be one of the more bigger implications that we're going to see, especially when it gets like a pancake swap and we can start using our Yieldly on just different protocols, whether it be liquidity pools or depending on what these other platforms listed or allow it to be used and leveraged in different ways. But the fact that it's the bridges are just it's great that we can start off with this, and it was one of the first that we actually used our Yieldly in more decentralized properties besides just staking.
Agreed. All right, I got to drop off, but I'm just gonna hit mute and kind of let it go.
All right, sounds good, bud.
Good talking to you guys. We'll talk again next week.
Yeah, sounds good. And then naturally, Yieldly is working on a VRF and a automated market maker as well too. But I imagine that'll come after all the other lotteries and bridges and staking pools that they're coming out with. The automated market maker that's going to be actually cross-chainable as well too. So it won't just work on the Algorand network. It'll work on Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon.
That's pretty fantastic. That it'll be able to bridge to all those.
Yes, it's going to be
I
able
mean,
to.
yeah, that's what Yieldly needs, just a bit more functionality.
It
Some people are starting to criticize for, the lack of updates.
well, I mean, they're working hard. They have a they don't have like I mean they have a decent sized team. I think it's like 5 people, 5 to 6 people. They're hiring more as it grows and goes. But I'm personally a fan. Huge fan of the team. If you're in their Telegram, which that's the only real way they try to only keep it that way, communicating because they're trying to lower like people like getting scammed or so forth. So they know that only the Telegram's the only place you're going to talk to an actual like Yieldly team member.
Gotcha.
But especially since it's so new. I mean, we've already watched some people get scammed already on Telegrams as is. And like a lot of us that do help people because now the scammers are just like trying to like mimic like someone like me or someone else that helps someone in the Telegram. And we're just they're just trying to do their best to keep it as safe as possible, especially with such a new project. Not to mention the lack of knowledge of DeFi that's in the Algorand ecosystem, because everyone's kind of just used to like staking their algo and calling it quits from there. Actually having to go claim it or move it around or bridge it. This is all new to people, especially when we start talking about like liquidity pools and stuff to a lot of the current algo members in the community, especially like the
Yeah, I mean
newer ones.
that's one thing that I will say, and you'll always hear from me is that I can appreciate people asking for new features and building new things, but I applaud Yieldy and the Yieldy team so much for actually getting something launched and actually being used, because it's one of the hardest things to actually do, and I think it's awesome that they they got as far as they did.
Especially like in Teal 3. They told me how limiting it is. They said now that the AVM's up and they can write in Teal 4, the level of customization they're going to be able to do later in the future is going to be way wider than the current version in Teal 3.
And just wait when they switch over to Yield to Reach, how fast they'll be rolling out features.
Oh man, I could only imagine because they we had a problem where they forgot to put an opt-in on the bridge on day one, so everyone's money was getting stuck in limbo. And they explained they're like, we're fitting everything we can in here right now, guys.
Right. Yeah, that's
a tough
all
one.
of that stuff goes away when you use Reach to build things.
Reach is OP.
OP.
How does Reach, the way Pablo Yabo described it to me, the CEO of Rand Labs, was that it is like an overarching command above the teal that simplifies everything. But can you explain a bit more?
Sure. It's so I guess that is a way to actually describe it. It raises the level of abstraction to be closer to business logic, which allows you as a developer to actually just kind of just be very clear with what you want to happen within your entire dApp, and you don't actually program smart contracts at all. What you do is you just program the actual functionality, and the compiler takes what you want, and it creates the exact clean state machine that makes that application run. So it's just a higher level of abstraction with a lot of safety built into it to actually compile down to what needs to be done.
That's incredible.
One question I forgot, I didn't get to ask you earlier because I lost connection a second ago. But one of the things I was going to ask you about your automated market maker, you don't have to share it with me because I'm not sure if you can. But one of the features on Uni V3 I like is where you can set ranges on your liquidity. Is that something you're thinking about adding on there?
Not in V1. Like our goal is to actually get like the MVP up, just the ability to actually just swap and have liquidity pools, and just like the bare minimum what it would be to be an AMM. The plan is then to actually get that out and use, and then right away start actually working on V2 that'll have many more features that people really like in the community to actually have efficient pools and efficient swaps and things of that sort. That being said, it's not as big of a problem on Algorand because
the fees are much less than what gas prices are. So a lot of the things that Uniswap V3 did, we really don't have to worry about on Algorand because of how efficient everything is.
True. Because I do play with liquidity pools on Uni and a couple other ones when I can, especially now that I can do it with my Yieldly. And
Like
yeah,
the
the
crazy thing
amount of
is
money I
that
pay on fees are just outrageous sometimes.
the crazy thing is to actually create a liquidity pool on Uniswap is like $1,500. It's going to cost, I think, like 0.03 or 0.04 algos to launch one on on our AMM.
What? Like for real?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
That's insane. Because I made one on Uni for Yieldly USDC, and like you said, I had to put in some real money to even make it work.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, like it. Yeah, I'm really excited for actually us launching this because I mean V1 is going to be pretty limiting. Like it's like I don't know for sure if we're going to even be able to do from like ASA to ASA swaps. You might have to actually manually go from like ASA to algo and algo to another ASA for V1. I'm not fully sure if we're going to do that or not for the routing, but it's still not even big of a deal because I mean a swap is going to cost like next to nothing. So
That is amazing, and I'm gonna be excited to plug in my liquidity in there when you get it done, man.
yeah, me too. I think it's gonna be really neat. But yeah, like we're just looking to actually make the most efficient, best thing with the best we possibly can to and yeah, I'm really excited about it. Like, I think that so I think next week or the week after I'm gonna record a demo of it all working on it on the command line. It's not gonna be super exciting, but I bet you people would like to see it. So I'll record it and throw it up on our YouTube.
I'll definitely love to see it, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's incredible.
The liquidity aspect on Algo is just gonna be like just amazing just because the fees alone. Because like just to plug in my liquidity on the lowest, like this is around like 14 GWs on Ethereum, cost me around $17. And if something happens to price and I feel like I need a pool, or because I usually have to set tight ranges depending on what I do, just to make sure most of my liquidity gets used on Uniswap. And if the price changes too much and I have to pull my liquidity, then I'm paying another $17. Depending on how much my liquidity got used, I lost money right there. And that just gets me really excited right there.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I like it's there's like I don't want people to be super excited about it because there are sometimes like one of the huge benefits of what Ethereum has is like they have the entire ecosystem where it's more than just the AMM, but this is going to be a great first step where just being able to actually swap from algo to ASAs in a relatively easy thing, and then also actually like build that into wallets itself. So rather than just having the wallet, you have a very easy swap functionality like built right into the wallet. I think it's gonna be really awesome.
Yes, and especially when people get to experience the speed, power, and the cost efficiency of Algo, we'll start watching that ecosystem definitely grow from there. I'm almost confident because I mean, look at BSC. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely cheaper than Ethereum, but just that cheaper option and that new level of development and growth there did attract a lot of people, a lot of traction, and a lot of development on their platform.
Like I'm excited for purely just swapping algo to USDC and back and forth because that's going to be like in a decentralized way like that. I mean I guarantee you that will be the largest pool on day one.
Agreed.
Yeah, to me it's the most. Yeah, it's the one I'm waiting for. It will open so many businesses into the liquidity pools for Algorand. On Algorand, it's incredible.
Especially when we can start like leveraging our algo in a decentralized way, through loans and stuff. Like that's also another exciting part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing that we're trying to do right now, because like our whole goal is to roll out an entire suite of applications. So we're trying to decide what the next application after the DEX is that we start focusing on, and it's either going to be a collateral backed like a fully decentralized collateral backed stablecoin or a lending platform. I'm not sure exactly which direction yet.
Oh, I have a question about that, Chris. Do you work with Algomint about like their BTC, Go BTC, Go ETH, and Go USD?
I talk to them quite often, but we haven't actually worked with them directly yet.
Okay.
I believe
because that sounds very promising.
I believe we have another like collateral based stablecoin that's being built on Algorand too. I think it's called like Collateral or I probably butchered their name somehow. But I remember seeing them on the Asian Accelerator when I was watching like Yieldly and others.
That's cool. I think you guys are all going to really dig my side project too. I'm not really ready to release it to the world yet, but it's like a fun like social experiment with like over 2 million NFTs.
definitely
Yeah.
piqued my interest.
I think Algorand posted like 4 million in like 24 hours or something like that. Was it? How much time do you need to post them all, do you think? Have you evaluated like trying to have a number behind it?
It's going to take a while, but the way that we're going to do it is because okay, I'm going to get a little bit in the weeds here. So I apologize.
Thank you. We are very small today, so it's not like it's okay. It's just between us.
So NFT is a general term, and there are two types of NFTs on Algorand. There's the ASA NFT, which is using the ASA functionality to create NFTs, and then there's the application NFT that uses Teal to create the NFT functionality. I will be using the application NFT, and because we're going to be using the application NFT, we can actually combine multiple NFTs into a single application. So we'll be able to actually roll out things much more quickly.
I see. Cool. So they will be kind of I'm trying to guess what type of NFT that be, like security like for secure for safety, like NFT for safety, for accounts to protect.
So this project is not anything.
That's interesting.
It's much more of a fun project than a
cool.
change in industry project.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear about it in more details.
It's going to be like the way that I see it is it's actually going to be very much a community focused project than actually like an industry focused project.
Awesome. I love communities. I love community projects. I think it's the future. Like the crypto can be huge in gathering people, like making people not only transact but collaborate and communicate and interact more.
That is true. Like, I mean, I use these people every time I'm on here. I use them as an example every time. But it's like the Link Green Frog Army. Like their community has marketed their coins so well that Link hasn't even have to do any marketing themselves whatsoever. And that's just because the community came together and made a culture for everyone to kind of like, take part of.
Yeah, that's very difficult to do, but very important. If we don't have a community, even if we have the best tech, we are nothing. We are nobody. We need to build a strong community. I'm trying to do that for like many years now, but
you're doing a
great hard.
Job. Bilal, were you the one that launched the FAM token?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Thank you very much.
Doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the traction we got off of that from your FAM token, like it was a good way to like help bring the community together, with a digital asset, and it was kind of great because I mean, me and you have been in the algo community for a long time. I remember like you were like one of the first people I followed when I first got into the community. And I'm pretty sure you can like agree, like we've watched the shift and growth in this community over like, you know, the past couple of years. It's been honestly insane.
Thanks. That's very nice of you. Yeah, and we still have done nothing like in the grand scheme of things. We are super small. Like we are not. I think the Algorand community, like the active one, is not more than 2,000 people.
Yes. I would have to I'd say anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000 people, somewhere around there.
I would love it to be like more, yeah, bigger, but it's hard. It's hard. Like it's I don't know what to do.
Well,
like maybe
you gotta just treat it like a
someone has an idea.
well, I mean, it's like kind of like how we're doing these spaces every Sunday. We're treating it like a plant. You know, we're watering it every Sunday. Now we're trying to make not just a normal plant. We're trying to make a foundation, a stable oak tree. Now that's something that just doesn't grow even after a couple of years. It takes time. You got to keep watering it. You got to keep tending it. You got to, we got to just keep treating it like our life depends on it. And the more we help and water and grow this tree, the bigger and the deeper its roots will go. And that's just how we're going to build this like internally as a community. The more active and
we need
engaged,
education
the more
and content.
education we give, and the more advice, and the more deeper analysts we give, and like our thoughts, and allow the community to participate and make it as decentralized as possible within the community is just the best way to make it grow. From what I've seen throughout my time in the blockchain space.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, I think we have Tom. How are you, Tom? Wait. Yeah, he's a speaker.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, welcome. How are you doing?
What's up, bud?
Good to talk to you. It's the first time we talk together.
Yeah, how you been?
Awesome. How are you doing? How was the New York meeting? I saw this. That was a great initiative. Like, so cool.
Yeah, it was a good event.
I wish I could be there, but tell us about it.
Yeah, so I mean, it was informal at the time of when I inquired about it. Finding space. We weren't able to book an actual reservation there, but it was a big enough venue to do stuff outdoor. And interesting enough, by the time we did have the event, you were allowed to book space, but it was too late. But so that was good. There was, I'm going to say close to 40 or 50 people there.
Oh, wow. 50 people. That's amazing.
Alex Fanos from Algodex came down from Massachusetts also too, and then spoke to there's an advisor there to Algorand outside of the program.
That's
we
cool.
talked to Kelly about setting up another event in New York formally with Algorand, where we'll get Sean and Kelly down.
That'd be amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll come down too.
Yeah, I'll fly for that one.
Yeah, we have some I'm in private equity, and another private equity guy, so we'll get people to pay the fund, pay the ticket for the whole event.
Dude, that's amazing. Thank you.
So someone needs to do one in Boston.
Yeah, Boston would be good. Go to the homeland.
That's where Algorand is.
Yeah.
So they should definitely. I think they have their own events.
Yeah, it's a home field turf.
You should look into those.
Who? Algorand? No, they don't. not during the pandemic, that's for sure.
Yeah, not during the pandemic, but follow Shamir Ozari on Twitter. He's their marketing programs director. He organizes those events, as well as Kelly, of course. Their marketing team's pretty low key, but yeah, you can find them.
Yeah, I'm excited about more Algorand based events like that. Like I was actually sad I couldn't make it to the last one because I was in Mexico. But yeah, next one I'm not missing.
We're gonna be doing a pretty big developer conference, probably Q1. Not sure where exactly yet, but it's gonna be pretty big Algorand stuff.
Nice.
That's nice. Yeah, we need more live events, and what Tom did is already a great one, like 50 people, that's amazing. And if we can do that more often, and if he organize this kind of meeting more often, we can do a great job. Like I think this is the way to go to grow a real community long term.
It is. It comes from like within the community, in my opinion.
All right, I got to run. I got some stuff to do with the kids and family. So good chatting. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, later, bud. Appreciate you stopping by.
Yep. See you, Tom. I also got to jump. So
Yeah,
talk to y'all
I
soon.
get going as well. And the kids destroyed the house while I was on this, so they'll clean it up.
Yeah, I think we'll just call it
Thank you
quits.
so much, Chris, for
Bye.
yeah. Thank you so much, Chris, for all the insight. Like it was really, really insightful, and we've learned. I'm sure we've learned a lot from what you explained to us.
Yeah, no problem.
So hopefully we'll learn next week.
Yeah,
again.
Anybody feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or message me. I'll be happy to chat.
Thank you so much. Take care, my
Thanks,
friend.
Chris. See ya.
Bye.
All right then. Well,
yeah, that was a good one.
I mean, everyone is getting better and better and better, dude. That we do these, like compared to that.
I really like this one.
Yeah, like I wish last week I could have participated more in that one too, but I like that Chris joined, and we had the other Chris from Anthill DAO come like that other week, and just I'm glad the developers are hopping in here and helping us with this as well too. That just making us more engaged and helping everyone get more connected with the the upcoming Algorand projects that are coming out.
Yeah, we need specialists to teach us more about like what they do and how they do it, and they have like so much knowledge to share, and they just don't have the platform. We need to give them the platform, and for us also to educate ourselves more.
Exactly.
Like it's amazing. It was amazing to have Christian.
I learned so much from him today. Like I literally learned so much.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next time he comes in, especially if he has like other developers working. Like he said 17,000 developers. That's insane. That's the future.
The amount of code that takes to write things on Reach is it's mind-boggling. Like their compiler is literally next level.
So that was a very long one. Like when did we start? It's
been 3 hours.
Like to me, it's 10 p.m. now. 3 hours.
3 hours.
That's so cool.
3-hour discussion.
Cool. That's like a kind of marathon. Like we are running long distance. That's cool.
Yeah, we're running low on topics towards the end. So.
Yeah. Thank you for your participation. You were great, and
Same with you, bud.
Monty went to it's awesome. So cool. I can't wait for next Sunday now.
We got a good team for this, man. Like we gathered the right algo people for this.
Yeah, everybody's nice, and we are all listening to each other and learning from each other. It's the best. It's the best. So cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can stop it now. Like if anyone has something like to say or to add, like just ask a request and I will give you the rights, like the microphone.
Yep.
I think nobody.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So talk soon, my friend.
All right, same, my man.
And I will DM you and we will talk.
All right.
Like separately. Take care, my friend.
You as well, bud.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.